So, now, what is going on with me? Before we go Dude of New York, before we go Donnie, before we go Don, you know what I'm saying? Before we look at photography, photos, and everything like that, what is going on with me? Before we start talking about skincare and like a Veda Institute and like finishing BMCC, and I want to go to FIT, and I want to study law, and I want to get like a master's of letters, what is really going on with me? So, Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher, right? Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher seems to also be, known by the Section 8 Housing Voucher. So, I believe that there might be people in these government offices, that may kindly neglect the choice part in the housing choice voucher, in order to flex their authority and kind of like shove everything within the umbrella of public housing for whatever freedom of information law, exploitation, usage or whatever. However, from what I understand, the Section 8 Housing Choice Voucher, the one that's administered by my housing authority, the New York City Housing Authority, they offered this voucher that is geared towards the private sector. That doesn't mean that, even to say, oh, you're a Section 8, housing owner, or a owner or whatever. I don't think that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I think, using a Section 8, owner or whatever, and claiming that to be a NYCHA building is some kind of finesse of the system with words and systems in order to, I guess, exploit people, really. Then there is the housing, the voucher itself, and then there are regular apartments that are in the private sector of the housing, rentals, industry, basically. These vouchers are just basically it's like a coupon, basically. That's basically from what I understand, that cover, a certain amount of coverage for the rent, dependent on the amount of income and your family size. So for someone like me, it's really not going to cover a lot, but there are a lot of affordable apartments, and there's a difference between looking at affordability and what affordable housing as a trademark is within the public housing sector. So for me, when they asked me, they're like, hey, so ACS, foster care youth history, what do you want in your permanency plan, your independence, moving forward, as you age out and transition into your own foundations? What do you want? They told me about supportive housing, which is basically just nonprofit organization similar to a group home. It's just for when you're older, and they offer clinical and support and things like that, on-site supportive housing. Then there is NYCHA, which is NYCHA as a trademark, is basically just those buildings that you see, those project buildings, those, this is a NYCHA owned building, and these are NYCHA apartments in these buildings. That's another thing, and that is also geared under the umbrella of affordable housing. Now, to make the private sector, more sustainable, especially since, income and revenue and bills and needs and things of that nature is, prevalent in everyone's lives, and not everyone has that kind of revenue stream to be able to cover rent and then cover other means of habitability, sociologically, economically. Then there is the Section 8 housing voucher. I have been discriminated against. I have ignored, refused, treated poorly. Basically, I mean, I'm poor, but I'm talking about just badly. On a scale of 0 to Nazi. like probably like a 3 or 4 or 5, whereas like it like extends like the process, because if I'm the one as like if this is like self-service, NYCHA, and it's like, freedom of decisions and stuff like that, like I'm doing the work looking for this apartment. I could be working with a broker, and as a foster care youth, I am like provided with aid. This is a housing subsidy aid as well as a discharge grant that they so much like paraded and like herald into my brain, though I have yet to receive it. I basically did the work in choice housing choice. First place, it was a lot. I met with the broker. No, I didn't meet with the broker. The broker sent me like the information like online. I went to the place. They like let me in. I viewed the different places. I chose which one, and they basically like let me do what I have to do. Mind you, that like the same computer that I was using and like how I did everything and whatnot, they like somebody stole my computer when I was in the Target, and I don't know if that person, like those people were following me or whatever's the case. Like previously I had my suspicions. I called the FBI. They like basically ignored me. They like just like pushed me to the like not even pushed me to the wayside, so to speak, but they basically just didn't take me seriously. I guess maybe because I wasn't like on the news or whatever crying, like they didn't really care, but long story short is I was followed like in real life, and my computer was stolen. I don't know what happened to that after, but that was that, so it's not like I can show you all like what's going on. I have my phone, whatever's the case. Fast forward, and I was sleeping in the park. This was in end of April, and they like stole like my phone. I don't know if end of April, like if that was to mean, like the one person that I met at like whatever Nike marketing place, and her name was April, like she's like like no more, or like they came for her or whoever that, whatever the case is. My focus is housing. My focus is like utilizing the Section 8 housing voucher.